All right, settle down, folks. Grab your popcorn, ironically, because here's a head scratcher.
Uh-huh.
Movie theater attendance. You hear it's down the tubes, right?
Yeah, that's the common narrative.
But guess who's still rocking those, let's be honest, sticky floors?
Let me guess. Young people.
Our beautiful, beautiful young people. Gen Z and their slightly more ancient cousins, the millennials.
Right.
So are they ditching the overpriced soda, or is this more like a situationship at the silver screen? Let's get into it.
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, the headline screams, cinema apocalypse.
Totally.
But when you actually squint at the numbers, well, a different picture starts to emerge.
How so?
They're not gone, not really, they're just different. Their whole relationship with entertainment is fundamentally shifted.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving headfirst into today, people.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this glorious mess of data here, from dissecting youth movie-going habits to their grand unified theory of entertainment spending, all with a spicy little side of Hong Kong cinema drama.
Think of it as trying to understand the new rules of the game.
Okay.
We're not just counting tickets anymore. We're trying to decode how an entire generation chooses to spend their, precious free time in their hard-earned cash.
Right. It's bigger than just movies.
Yeah, this isn't just about Hollywood. It's about a cultural sea change.
So buckle up, buttercups, because your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to figure out why those plush velvet seats are feeling so lonely, what our digitally native youngsters are doing instead, and what the heck the future holds for that magical communal experience of watching a story unfold in the dark.
Yeah.
Especially in a city that loves its movies as much as Hong Kong.
Yeah, good point.
We're serving up the knowledge, no snooze fest guaranteed.
It does beg the question right away, though.
Yeah.
If young people are still the most reliable audience,
Yeah.
why the overall panic about cinema attendance?
Good question.
The answer, well, as our sources lay bare, it kind of takes us back to a time before,
Cue the sepia filter. Back in the pre-pandemic golden age, apparently.
like good old days.
Anyone between the tender ages of 12 and the slightly less tender age of 24 were basically the landlords of the multiplex, especially stateside.
Oh, definitely. The data from 2019 in the U.S. and Canada is pretty stark on this.
Really? Like how stark?
These demographics were averaging close to 5 movie tickets purchased per person. 5.
Per person? Wow.
And that wasn't just a blip. The numbers were even juicier in 2018.
Okay.
And if you dust off the records from 2015, teenagers were practically living at the cinema, averaging 7 visits a year.
7. That's more than my dentist appointment, seriously.
Haha, yeah.
It wasn't just about showing up, though, right? They were, like, disproportionately obsessed. Is that fair?
Precisely. Our sources talk about oversampling.
Oversampling?
Yeah, these younger groups made up a far bigger chunk of the movie theater crowd than their actual slice of the population pie. So, for instance, back in 2017, the 12 to 17-year-old group, only 8% of the total population.
Right.
But they accounted for a whopping 13% of all moviegoers. They were enthusiastic participants, to say the least.
So they were the superfans before it was cool to be a superfan. Or maybe it was always cool. Anyway, I remember something about the truly dedicated movie lovers being crucial.
Ah, yes. The frequent moviegoers.
No.
Those cinematic zealots hitting the theater at least once a month.
Right.
Before the world turned upside down, this relatively small posse, maybe 11–12% of everyone,
Okay, small group.
was responsible for almost half of all ticket sales. Nearly half.
Whoa!
And guess who was leading that charge?
Let me guess. The Yummans.
You guessed it. The younger crowd. They were the repeat customers, keeping those projector bulbs burning.
Okay, so the young people were going all the time. They were a big part of the overall audience, and they were the backbone of that elite, frequent club. Got it.
Exactly.
Then Bamdemic hits, and suddenly everyone's living room is the hottest new screening room.
Yeah, the pandemic delivered a knockout blow to cinema attendance across the board.
How bad was it?
To give you a sense of the scale, the average U.S. adult only went to the movies 1.4 times in 2021.
1.4, that's it.
That's it. And get this, 61% of American adults didn't even bother to step foot in a cinema that entire year.
61%.
It was a seismic shift.
Brutal. That sounds like tumbleweeds rolling through the lobby. So what happened to our devoted young moviegoers? Did they just swap their popcorn for endless scrolling?
Well, their attendance definitely took a nosedive too, no question.
Okay.
For example, in the U.S., that 18 to 29-year-old demographic, they went from averaging like 9.1 movie trips way back in 2007.
Yeah, nine.
Down to a paltry 3.2 in 2021.
Okay, still a big drop.
Huge drop. However, and this is a crucial however, they still boasted the highest per-person attendance compared to any older age group in 2021.
So even though they went less, they still went the most.
Exactly. Even with the big drop, they were still the most likely to brave the outside world for a movie.
Still the most frequent, just less frequently frequent.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about those hardcore frequent moviegoers? Did their ranks just evaporate?
That segment was decimated, just crushed.
Oof.
In 2021, only a minuscule 3% of the U.S. and Canadian population qualified as frequent moviegoers.
3%, down from what, 11, 12?
Down from 11% in 2019. It's a catastrophic drop, a staggering loss of devoted fans.
Wow.
Yet, even in their drastically reduced numbers, this core group still accounted for a significant 34% of total admissions.
Still punching above their weight, then.
Absolutely. It highlights their enduring importance to the industry. They're a smaller but fiercely loyal bunch.
Fewer of the super-duper fans, but they're still incredibly important. Sounds like the pandemic really threw a wrench in the whole operation.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing our old friend, the streaming service, had a little something to do with that.
A little something might be the understatement of the century.
Ah, okay.
The pandemic acted like a turbocharger for the already accelerating shift towards streaming.
Right, it was already happening, but this just sped it up.
Massively. With lockdowns and just endless hours stuck in home, on-demand viewing became the default setting.
Mm-hmm.
And like a comfy pair of sweatpants, this habit has proven incredibly hard to shake. It's sticking around long after restrictions eased.
It's like we all got a giant remote control that suddenly worked for everything, and the going out button mysteriously stopped functioning.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
The pandemic wasn't just a temporary blip. It was a fundamental reset button for our entertainment consumption.
A hard reset.
It solidified at-home viewing as the norm and amplified the already intense battle for eyeballs waged by streaming giants.
So getting people back is harder now.
Re-enticing those high-frequency cinema visits is a much, much tougher gig than simply attracting the occasional moviegoer.
Huh.
The bar for leaving the house has been raised significantly.
All right, so globally, young people were the cinema MVPs, then everything tanked, but they were still the most likely to go. And streaming became the king of the castle.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, let's take a little trip over to Hong Kong. What's the cinematic tea there?
Well, the Hong Kong cinema scene attempted a comeback in 2023.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
Showed a rise in both attendance and box office revenue compared to the pandemic doldrums.
Okay, some good news.
However, and this is a big however.
Always a however.
Even this positive blip only managed to claw back to about 74% of the 2018 box office figures.
Ah, so better, but still way off pre-pandemic levels.
Exactly. Progress, but still a significant deficit.
So a glimmer of hope, but not quite a full-on resurrection. And it sounds like that spark didn't exactly set the world on fire in the long run.
Sadly not. 2024 witnessed another downturn in overall box office revenue.
Oh, really? Back down again.
Yep. And the recent 2025 Lunar New Year box office numbers were particularly disheartening.
How bad?
Plummeting by a hefty 37.1% compared to the previous year.
Ouch.
And by almost 60% compared to the pre-pandemic glory days of 2019. Big ouch.
Those are numbers that make you want to cry into your dim sum. Okay, our intel includes a table breaking down Hong Kong's film trends. What are the juicy bits we should be paying attention to there?
Yeah, that table really tells a story of a market in flux. You see the total box office numbers bouncing around, the attendance figures when we have them mirroring that volatility, and a really interesting tug of war between local and imported films in terms of market share.
Local versus imported. Interesting.
Pay close attention to that noticeable dip in imported film revenue, especially Hollywood stuff, between 2018 and 2023.
Yeah, the big Hollywood behemoths used to rule the roost there, right? What caused that shift? Did they suddenly lose their Cantonese charm?
Well, several factors likely conspired. Our sources suggest a possible dip in the allure of some long-running franchise films.
Franchise fatigue.
Could be. And the disruption caused by the Hollywood strikes in 2023 definitely put a squeeze on the supply of new, shiny blockbusters.
Right. Less product available.
Less A-list firepower heading east, basically.
Yeah, makes sense. Less of the usual Hollywood razzle-dazzle to go around, but it sounds like the local Hong Kong film scene has been having a bit of a Cinderella moment.
Absolutely. While the local box office in 2023 was heavily propped up by one runaway success, A Guilty Conscience.
Yes, I heard about that one.
2024 saw a genuine explosion with We 12 and Twilight of the Warriors walled in. Both shattered box office records.
Wow.
And in a historic turn of events, for the first time since 2004, local films actually outperformed imported films in terms of overall box office share.
Get Out. That's huge.
A real victory for homegrown talent. It shows there's definitely an appetite for local stories.
Whoa, that's a major plot twist. It's fantastic to see local stories connecting with audiences, but it sounds like even local heroes might not be enough to completely save the day. Am I reading that right?
You're hitting on a critical point. Alongside these celebrated successes, Hong Kong has been grappling with a concerning trend. Cinemas are closing their doors.
Oh.
Multiple theaters shuttered in 2024, and even before that. It raises serious concerns about the future of movie exhibition in the city.
So the actual number of screens is shrinking.
Yeah, the number of operating cinemas has been on a steady downward trend. Less venues, less opportunity.
That's a worrying subplot. Fewer places to watch movies, whether they're Hollywood epics or local gems. It creates a kind of vicious cycle, doesn't it?
It can, yeah. And sadly, our data doesn't break down Hong Kong attendance by age specifically.
Oh, okay.
So it's tough to pinpoint exactly how young people are factoring into these local trends.
Right.
However, the overarching struggle suggests that attracting audiences across all age brackets is a significant hurdle in the Hong Kong market right now. Everyone's feeling the pinch.
So in Hong Kong, a wobbly comeback, Hollywood taking a backseat, local films surging, but also cinemas going dark. It's like a condensed version of the global challenges with its own unique flavor of soy sauce.
Exactly.
Now, let's really dissect why all this is happening. We've name-dropped streaming a few times, but what are the other villains in this story? Or maybe just factors?
Well, streaming's ascent is undoubtedly the Godzilla in this Tokyo-sized problem.
Godzilla, I like it.
The sheer convenience of accessing a universe of content with a few clicks whenever, wherever. It's a massive gravitational pull.
Can't beat the convenience.
Then you factor in the cost, often a month's worth of entertainment for less than the price of a single cinema ticket.
And that's before the snacks.
Let's not even talk about those wallet-busting popcorn and soda combos.
Yeah.
Plus, the ever-expanding libraries and the billions being poured into original programming by these platforms, it makes a compelling case for staying home.
Right. You can binge an entire saga for less than the price of taking the family to the movies. And that pressure to see the latest blockbuster on opening weekend, it's definitely evaporated, hasn't it? With those shrinking or even simultaneous release windows.
Oh, totally. Why battle the crowds? Why shell out for tickets, parking, maybe overpriced snacks, when you know you can stream it in a few weeks, or maybe even the same day?
In your pajamas.
In your pajamas. With your own, presumably cheaper and healthier snacks. This shift in release strategies has fundamentally altered the perceived value and urgency of the theatrical experience for a huge chunk of the audience.
Okay, convenience and cost are the obvious heavy hitters.
Yeah.
But what about the actual experience? Sitting in a cinema versus lounging on your couch. What are the trade-offs there?
Okay, the cinema still holds some powerful trump cards.
Like what?
That truly immersive experience. The colossal screen, the earth-shattering surround sound, that's something your home set up, no matter how swanky, can't truly replicate.
True.
There's also the focused environment, the, mostly enforced silence. And for some people, the social ritual, the act of a night out.
Going out.
Out, exactly. And let's be real, those big, visually stunning sound design spectacles, they're often just designed to be seen and heard in a cinema. It's an event.
True. There's a certain magic to being swept away by a massive screen and booming audio with a room full of strangers all reacting in real time. It is special.
Yeah.
But the couch has its undeniable charms, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Comfort reigns supreme at home. Your favorite blanket. The ability to hit pause for a bathroom break or a snack refill without missing a beat. You're in complete control.
The pause button is key.
And home theater's technology has made incredible leaps, narrowing that gap in picture and sound quality significantly.
Yeah.
Plus, no sticky floors usually.
Hopefully not. And let's not sugarcoat the downsides of the cinema either. Those ticket prices, the concession costs, they can feel like a second mortgage sometimes.
They really add up.
And it's not always the most convenient travel, parking, rigid showtimes. And let's be honest, sometimes your fellow moviegoers can be less than ideal.
Oh boy.
Phone screens glowing, loud chewers, the whole 9 yards.
Precisely. Our sources even touch on hygiene concerns as a contributing factor, particularly resonating with the younger demographic, apparently.
Really? Hygiene. Interesting.
Yeah. And when you weigh those factors, the immersive but expensive and sometimes inconvenient cinema against the comfy but potentially distracting and isolated home, the decision becomes a much more nuanced calculation for consumers. What are you prioritizing at that particular moment?
It really boils down to a personal cost-benefit analysis every single time you think about hitting the multiplex.
Okay, what about broader shifts? How we live, how we entertain ourselves now, are those also playing a part?
Without a doubt, modern life is it's all about flexibility, instant gratification, constant digital interaction.
Always on.
Younger generations have grown up multitasking, having entertainment on tap 24/7. The cinema, with its fixed schedule and its demand for undivided attention for, like, 2 hours straight.
Yeah, it feels like a big ask sometimes.
It can feel out of sync with that always-on, always-connected lifestyle.
Right.
Plus, the rise of remote work, the explosion of at-home entertainment options, they've lessened the perceived need to actively venture out for leisure activities.
Don't need to leave the house as much. And let's not ignore the insatiable appetite of social media, which just devours vast amounts of leisure time.
For sure.
Some consumers also simply feel that the current crop of movies isn't as captivating as it once was.
Yeah.
The competition for attention is just fierce.
It's like our brains have been rewired for the TikTok attention span, maybe. A 2-hour commitment in a dark room feels like a marathon sometimes.
There might be something to that.
And we can't forget the ghost of pandemics past, can we? That must still be lingering.
Oh, absolutely. The lingering effects of COVID-19 are still palpable.
How so?
While acute health concerns might have receded for many, that ingrained habit of at-home entertainment, meticulously cultivated during those extended lockdowns,
It persists.
they got used to it.
It's a behavioral inertia that's proving remarkably resistant to change. We learn to be homebodies and, well, old habits die hard.
So convenience, cost, the increasingly appealing home experience, lifestyle evolution, the pandemic's long shadow.
Yeah.
It's a perfect storm of challenges for the traditional cinema.
Pretty much, yeah. And how do these wins buffet the Hong Kong market specifically? What's the local consensus there?
Well, the prevailing sentiment in Hong Kong, according to our sources, is that the proliferation of streaming services and those increasingly rapid digital release windows are major culprits behind the slide in cinema attendance.
Same story, different place.
Yeah, largely. The economic pressures that are sadly leading to cinema closures are another significant local factor.
By shrinking venues.
And the Hong Kong market's historical reliance on imported, often Hollywood, films makes it particularly vulnerable to shifts in their popularity and availability.
When Hollywood sneezes.
Exactly. There's also ongoing debate about whether local content, despite recent successes, consistently captures the broad appeal needed for sustained box office success across the board. It's a unique cocktail of global trends and local dynamics.
Okay, we've painted the gloomy picture, maybe the realistic picture. Now let's shine a spotlight on our main characters, Gen Z and millennials. What does their overall entertainment diet look like in this brave new world?
For these generations, entertainment is overwhelmingly digital first, if not exclusively digital sometimes.
Right. Screens.
Their time and attention are heavily concentrated on streaming platforms, video, music, you name it. The endless scroll of social media, and the immersive worlds of gaming.
Ah, gaming too. Big one.
Huge. And it's not like these are separate activities. It's a deeply interconnected digital ecosystem where these things often bleed into each other.
Yeah, it's all just content or experience.
Both. It's all competing for the same limited time and attention.
And they're practically living on social media, right? I mean, you see them glued to their phones everywhere.
The data absolutely backs up that observation. Our sources indicate that Gen Z, in particular, dedicates significantly more time to social platforms and engaging with user-generated content compared to older demographics.
Okay.
And correspondingly, less time to traditional linear TV and movies.
How much time are we talking?
A significant majority spend at least an hour glued to social media every single day. And a substantial chunk are clocking in over 3 hours.
That's 3 hours daily.
Daily. It's their primary mode of connection, information consumption, entertainment, everything.
That's practically a full-time job being an online commentator. Right. And they seem perfectly happy to pay for their digital fixes, right? I see subscription fees for everything.
Absolutely. Streaming services are a fundamental part of their entertainment budget. They show a strong willingness to pay for access to vast libraries of content.
And the short video stuff, TikTok, Reels.
Massively popular. Due to their bite-sized, highly addictive nature. Comedy, educational snippets, those oh-so-personal vlogs. They love that stuff.
Entertainment on demand, tailored to fleeting attention spans.
Pretty much. And let's not forget the digital battlegrounds of gaming. That's a whole other universe of engagement.
Right, you mentioned gaming. What's the deal there?
Young people are active participants in a huge spectrum of games, from free-to-play mobile titles to immersive console experiences. And they're increasingly comfortable with in-game microtransactions.
Buying the little extras.
Those little digital trinkets and upgrades that add up. This paints a clear picture of a generation whose entertainment is fluid, seamlessly moving across platforms, and deeply ingrained in the digital landscape.
It's not just passive consumption either, is it?
No, often it's interactive and very community-driven.
So it's not just about passively watching stories, it's about actively participating in these interconnected digital realms.
Yeah, what?
Now, when it comes to how they spend their actual money and what truly resonates with them, what are the key takeaways there? What do they value?
One striking aspect is their strong inclination towards experiences over material possessions.
Experiences over things. Heard that before.
They prioritize allocating their funds to things like travel, dining out at that trendy new spot, attending live events.
Concerts, festivals.
Exactly. And even acquiring digital goods within their online worlds, rather than accumulating physical stuff that might just gather dust.
Digital goods, like skins in games.
Yeah, stuff like that. Interestingly, for Gen Z in Hong Kong, the prospect of travel is even a major motivator in their career choices.
Wow, travel is that important.
Apparently so. It's about creating memories and, let's be honest, probably sharing them online, building that personal brand.
Experiences over things, I keep hearing that. It's like they're building their highlight reel in real life. But aren't they also supposed to be pretty savvy with their cash? I hear they're all about budgeting apps and side hustles.
That's the fascinating paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
They are incredibly value-conscious and financially prudent. Many came of age during economic uncertainties. They're acutely aware of debt, inflation.
Okay.
So they're diligent about seeking out discounts. They're surprisingly open to purchasing secondhand goods, and they're meticulous about their budgeting.
Secondhand is cool now.
Totally. Hong Kong's Gen Z, for example, exhibits a notably high savings rate.
High savings, even while spending on experiences.
Yeah. While they'll splurge on those cherished experiences and high-quality content, they are very, very sensitive to price when it comes to everyday goods and services. They're smart spenders with clear priorities.
So experience-driven, but budget-aware. What about that buzzword we keep hearing?
Yeah.
Authenticity. It seems like that's the holy grail for connecting with younger generations.
Authenticity is absolutely non-negotiable for earning their trust.
Yeah.
It really is.
Okay.
They are inherently skeptical of traditional, highly polished advertising. They place far more value on genuine recommendations from their peers and the online creators they choose to follow.
Right. Influencers, but maybe smaller ones.
Often, yeah. Micro-influencers. Brands need to demonstrate transparency, align themselves with values that resonate with this generation.
Walk the talk.
Exactly. Anything that smacks of inauthenticity or increasingly AI-generated content, that's a major red flag.
Oh.
A quick way to lose their attention.
Don't try to fake it.
Our research even indicates that a significant majority of Gen Z place more trust in advertisements featuring real, relatable customers. They want to see themselves reflected.
Got it. Real people, real stories, no corporate BS. And social media, that digital town square, plays a massive role in all of this, I can only imagine.
That's absolutely pivotal. Social media is their primary tool for discovering new products, researching brands, getting inspiration for, well, everything. Fashion, travel.
Movies.
Yes, even movies. They actively engage with brands they admire online and are heavily swayed by the opinions and trends circulating within their digital social circles. It's word-of-mouth marketing on steroids.
So it's this intriguing blend. Craving authentic experiences, but being savvy with their cash, demanding genuine connection, but often finding it within the curated world of social media. What does this all look like on the ground in a place like Hong Kong for Gen Z? You mentioned a few things already.
Yeah, Hong Kong Gen Z offers a particularly insightful case study. They place that high premium on travel as a work incentive.
Right, motivator.
Dedicate a significant portion of their income to it, alongside a higher-than-average expenditure on entertainment overall.
Spending on fun.
Yet, they also maintain that remarkably high savings rate and actively leverage digital tools for managing their finances.
Digitally savvy savers.
They tend to start investing earlier compared to previous generations, although their investment portfolios are often maybe more narrowly focused.
Okay.
They're digital natives, overwhelmingly prefer contactless and omnichannel shopping experiences,
Makes sense.
but also exhibit a surprising fondness for analog trends.
Analog? Like
Like
what? Vinyl?
like the resurgence of film photography, yeah, things like that.
Interesting little contradiction there.
They consume less traditional alcohol, like red wine, and, in a rather quirky detail, are more likely to have pet insurance than personal health insurance in some instances.
Pet insurance over health insurance. Wow. Okay, well, that's certainly a statement about where their hearts lie. Or maybe just pragmatism about vet bills.
Could be.
So, Hong Kong Gen Z sounds like they're juggling that desire for immediate fun with a practical eye on the future, all while navigating the digital world and occasionally dipping their toes back into retro trends. Fascinating.
It's a blend of pragmatism and hedonism almost.
Now, how do they actually feel about the content they consume and the advertising thrown their way? How do they find stuff?
Well, they're more inclined to receive recommendations from movies and TV shows through their social media feeds than directly from the streaming platforms themselves.
So scrolling beats browsing the Netflix menu.
Often, yes. And crucially, they tend to place more trust in those social recommendations.
Trust the algorithm or trust their friends.
More like trust the creators and peers they follow. They also report feeling a stronger emotional connection with the individual content creators they follow on platforms like YouTube and TikTok than with traditional, often more distant celebrities.
That parasocial relationship thing.
Exactly. It's real.
So the power of the digital influencer or creator is alive and well. And when it comes to actually making a purchase, what kind of messages cut through the noise?
Social media advertisements and product reviews found on social platforms are cited as the most influential factors in their purchase decisions.
More than TV ads.
Way more influential than traditional advertisements on streaming services or broadcast television.
Okay.
They also perceive social media ads as being more relevant to their specific needs and interests, likely due to sophisticated targeting algorithms.
Creepy, but effective maybe.
But again, that core demand for authenticity remains paramount. They express significant skepticism towards AI-generated content in advertising.
Don't want robot influencers.
And overwhelmingly trust ads that feature real, genuine customers.
See someone like me using it.
Exactly.
And I'm guessing they're not exactly thrilled about being bombarded with endless, irrelevant ads. Who is, honestly?
You're spot on. They exhibit a clear weariness of intrusive and repetitive advertisements, particularly those that interrupt their viewing experience on streaming platforms and traditional cable TV.
Hate those ad breaks.
However, they show a greater willingness to tolerate ad-supported streaming options.
Oh, really? They'll watch ads if it's cheaper.
Same so. It suggests a pragmatic trade-off between cost savings and exposure to commercials. Relevance and non-intrusiveness are key. Don't annoy them too much.
So it's all about building trust and delivering relevant messages through those authentic voices they follow online. The old playbook of top-down, mass-market advertising just isn't going to cut it with this generation.
Not really, no.
What does this mean for how movies and cinemas need to connect with them, then?
It necessitates a fundamental shift in marketing strategy. Film and cinema promotion needs to prioritize genuine engagement on social media platforms.
Be where they are.
Actively encourage user-generated content, turn fans into advocates, and strategically collaborate with those trusted micro-influencers who hold sway within specific online communities.
Find the right niche voices.
Rather than solely relying on traditional, often expensive advertising campaigns, authenticity and peer-to-peer influence are the new currencies in this landscape.
Okay, we've painted a pretty vivid picture of the challenges and the audience. So what does the crystal ball say? Can cinemas actually adapt and carve out a sustainable future in this rapidly evolving entertainment ecosystem? Is there hope?
Absolutely. I think there is. Cinemas possess some truly unique selling propositions that streaming services simply cannot replicate.
The USPs, what are they?
Well, that profoundly immersive visual and auditory experience is still a major draw.
The big screen, big sound.
Yeah, the shared communal social experience of laughing, gasping, maybe even shedding a tear alongside a crowd of fellow moviegoers. That's powerful.
Can't get that alone on the couch.
The focused, distraction-minimized viewing environment is a welcome escape for many. And the whole ritual of going to the movies, the anticipation, the popcorn, the darkened theater, especially for those must-see event-level blockbusters, it still holds a significant cultural weight.
Making it special again.
The survival of cinemas hinges on amplifying these irreplaceable experiential values. That's the key.
So it's all about making it an event, not just another way to watch a story. How can cinemas actually elevate that experience to entice people away from their comfy couches? What are the strategies?
Several key revitalization strategies are emerging, investing in and prominently showcasing premium formats like IMAX, 4DX, Dolby Cinema. That's crucial.
The fancy seats and sound.
Upgrading seating, generally, for enhanced comfort, offering a wider and more appealing range of food and beverage options.
Better snacks.
Even transforming lobbies into more inviting social spaces, maybe with bar areas, and maintaining impeccable cleanliness.
Cleanliness matters, you said, especially for Gen Z.
Yeah, our sources suggest it's a non-negotiable for them, a clean and aesthetically pleasing environment.
Upgrading the snack game beyond stale popcorn, a revolutionary idea. What about the actual content on the screens? Can cinemas diversify their offerings beyond just the blockbusters?
Absolutely. Moving beyond a sole focus on the latest Hollywood tentpoles is essential.
What else could they show?
Curating a more diverse program. That includes independent films, art house cinema, thought-provoking documentaries, beloved classics, international films that might not otherwise get wide distribution,
Foreign films, niche stuff.
and hosting special events like local film festivals, Q&A sessions with filmmakers, themed retro screenings.
Retro nights, like 90s movies.
Exactly. Tapping into nostalgia with screenings of cult classics or beloved films from the 90s and early 2000s, for example, could be a strong draw for millennials and even some Gen Z.
So, positioning the cinema as more of a cultural hub, a destination for diverse cinematic experiences, not just the place to catch the latest superhero flick.
Precisely.
What about those notoriously high ticket prices? They can be a real deterrent, especially for families or budget-conscious young adults. How do you fix that?
Innovative pricing strategies and compelling membership models are non-negotiable. They have to address value.
Like what kind of strategies?
This could involve dynamic pricing, offering discounts during off-peak hours, specific day-of-the-week deals, like the popular Tuesday movie tickets in Hong Kong,
Cheap Tuesdays, yeah.
and robust loyalty programs that mirror the benefits offered by streaming services.
Points and perks.
Think point systems that lead to discounts, birthday perks, priority booking privileges, exclusive member screenings. Hong Kong cinema chains like MCL, Emperor Cinemas, Broadway, they already have various versions of these.
So, membership has its privileges.
Strategic collaborations with credit card companies to offer ticket discounts are also a common and effective tactic.
Seen those credit card deals.
And of course, maintaining standard student, senior, and child discounts remains crucial for accessibility. It's about demonstrating value alongside the experience.
Loyalty perks and discounts makes perfect sense. It's about making the experience more affordable and rewarding. Now, how can cinemas specifically reach and resonate with that Gen Z audience we've been analyzing? How do you talk to them?
Engaging authentically on platforms like TikTok and Instagram is paramount. You have to be there.
Okay, show up on their turf.
Sharing behind-the-scenes glimpses, actively encouraging user-generated content by showcasing fan reactions, fan art,
Get them involved.
strategically collaborating with local micro-influencers who have genuine sway within specific online communities,
Find those trusted voices.
and creating interactive, shareable experiences at the cinema itself.
Like what? Photo booths.
Think augmented reality filters, offline games tied to films, engaging photo opportunities, themed events like cosplay nights, maybe even esports tournaments hosted in cinema spaces.
Esports in a cinema. Interesting.
Offering value-oriented ticket and concession packages and cultivating a strong sense of community around the cinema are also key to building lasting relationships.
So meeting them where they live online and making the actual cinema visit more interactive, social, and shareable. Got it. And I'm guessing that using data to really understand their preferences is no longer optional. You need the analytics.
Absolutely not. Leveraging consumer data to gain deep insights into their movie preferences, personalize marketing efforts with targeted recommendations, optimize film scheduling to align with their availability and interests. That's going to be increasingly vital for survival.
It sounds like the entire industry playbook needs a serious rewrite. What might the future landscape of film distribution and exhibition actually look like? Is it all just streaming?
Probably not all streaming. Hybrid release models, where films have more flexible or shorter theatrical windows before becoming available on streaming platforms, those are likely to become the standard.
Shorter time in theaters.
Yeah. Streaming platforms will continue their reign as major content producers, blurring the lines between theatrical releases and streaming premieres. Data analysis will play an even more crucial role in informing every aspect of the business.
Data drives decisions.
And for dedicated film enthusiasts, there's a strong potential for a symbiotic relationship between the unparalleled immersive experience of cinema and the undeniable convenience of streaming at home.
So they can coexist.
I think so. They can coexist, serving different needs and occasions.
So not a zero-sum game, but more of a strategic realignment. Okay. What are the specific implications and potential pathways forward for the Hong Kong cinema market in this evolving landscape? What's the local angle?
Well, attracting and retaining young audiences is absolutely paramount for the long-term health of the Hong Kong film industry. That's job one.
The youth.
The recent box office triumphs of local productions underscore the immense potential of homegrown storytelling. Continued investment in talent development and support programs is critical for sustaining this momentum.
Keep making those local hits.
And a deep understanding of the unique preferences of Hong Kong Gen Z, their digital fluency, their appetite for experiences, their value consciousness, even their surprising embrace of analog trends that's essential for crafting effective marketing campaigns and compelling in-cinema experiences.
Tailor it to them.
Balancing value and experience, building upon existing membership programs and discount initiatives will be key to luring them away from their screens at home.
Value plus experience.
However, Hong Kong also faces those distinct structural challenges: the decline in revenue from imported films, the worrying trend of cinema closures.
The headwinds.
It necessitates diversified content strategies, optimized operational costs, and the exploration of innovative revenue streams.
That adapt or die.
Ultimately, the revival of Hong Kong's film industry likely requires a two-pronged approach: capitalizing on the appeal of local narratives and strategically adopting global best practices tailored to the specific nuances of the local youth market.
Local focus, global tactics.
Emphasizing both value and the irreplaceable magic of the cinematic experience, all while fostering collaboration across different industry players and securing supportive government policies. It's a complex puzzle.
Okay, so to boil it all down, young people's relationship with movie theaters is definitely in its complicated phase. Heavily influenced by the rise of streaming and shifts in their overall lifestyle. The future survival of cinemas hinges on offering something truly special that you just can't replicate on your living room couch.
The unique experiential value.
And the Hong Kong film scene is navigating its own unique set of challenges and opportunities in this global transformation.
Precisely. It's an evolution, not necessarily an extinction event.
An evolution. I like that. Okay. So here's the million-dollar question to chew on as you go about your day, as you listener think about this. In a world where virtually any form of entertainment is instantly accessible on the glowing rectangle in your pocket, what is that intangible something that still compels us to leave the comfort of our homes and share a collective experience in the dark with a bunch of strangers?
What is that magic?
And is that something precious that we risk losing in this increasingly digital world? Food for thought, folks.